Lou, Tommy, Angelica Pickles, Chucky Finster, and Susie Carmichael were at the park. Lou's reading the kids a book on people from the American Old West like Wild Bill Hickok, Wyatt Earp, and Calamity Jane, and talks about them and their relationship with the Native Americans. He also talks about the outlaws like Cactus Kate, a notorious robber. While Lou's telling them stories from the book, Angelica's looking for stuff to cut with her Cynthia safety scissors. She then sees a man dressed as a giant ice cream cone handing out the coupons to various kids around the park's public swimming pool. Angelica rides her tricycle over to him and he gives her a coupon, but when she starts cutting it, he tells her that the coupons he's handing for her for free ice cream cones from the ice cream truck that rides by the park. When the man leaves the pool, he stuffs the rest of the coupons in his back pocket, but they fall out and Angelica takes them, intending to keep them for herself. Susie and the boys to come by, and Susie chastises Angelica for taking the coupons, saying that the coupons are for all the babies at the park, and not just for Angelica. Angelica defiantly says that she'll keep the coupons and she plans on eating all those ice cream cones herself. Tommy then says, "In the name of the slaw, we're here to stop you, Cactus Kate." Tommy starts calling himself Wild Bill Hiccup, and he calls Chucky Wyatt Burp, and he calls Susie Clammy Jane. They vow to stop Angelica, and all four of them pretend to be people of the American Old West. Angelica pretends her tricycle is her horse, while Susie and the boys pretend that sticks are their horses. Betty had been at the pool with Phil and Lil, who were taking a swim class and are apparently the fastest swimmers in their class. Betty sets the twins down on a blanket and gives them each a popsicle as a treat. Betty goes over to Lou, where he falls asleep reading the book on the American Old West. Angelica is over and Phil and Lil's blanket on her tricycle, and Tommy, Chucky, and Susie imagine the twins as Native Americans. They ask them to help stop Cactus Kate and to cross the river, a small artificial pond at the park. Phil and Lil give Susie and the boys each a duck inner tube. They imagine it as a canoe, and Phil lets each of them lick the popsicle his mom gave them, although Chucky's a little reluctant at first. Their canoe gets a hole in it. Tommy plugs it up with popsicle Phil gave him. They get access to the river, but Angelica yells to them just because they made it across. That doesn't mean they'll stop her from getting all the ice cream. Chucky gets worried they'll get lost in the woods, but Susie uses a string they can all hold on to, so they don't get separated. Angelica ends up cutting the string with her Cynthia safety scissors. Chucky gets lost, but Tommy manages to find him, and they and Susie follow Angelica up a big pile of boxes, which they imagine is a high cliff with falling boulders. They manage to make it over the cliff, and when they get to a group of recycling bins, Tommy sees ice cream coupons that Angelica took lying on the ground. Susie gets suspicious as to why they'd be on the ground with Angelica nowhere in sight. Tommy thinks that maybe Angelica figured they'd find her and decided to leave the coupons there. But just then, Angelica lassos Susie and the boys with a hose as she plans to leave them where she gets all the ice cream from the ice cream truck. Just as she's about to leave, she's stopped by the Native Americans, various children who are hanging around the pool, led by Phil and Lil. The twins tell Angelica to let Susie and the boys go, but she refuses. They force Angelica to apologize after they threaten to kiss her, and Tommy hands out the ice cream coupons to everyone. Lou and Betty hand ice cream cones to all the kids. When the rugrats eat their ice cream cones, Susie thanks Angelica for sharing the ice cream coupons. At the park, Tommy and Chucky are building a sandcastle. Angelica is playing with Cynthia's dollhouse in the stand. A moody little girl complains to her father that she wants ice cream and she wants it now. Drew remarks to Sue that he would not want to be in the girl's father's shoes. Tommy asks Angelica why her daddy doesn't like the other guy's shoes, and she claims that when you put another person's shoes on, you become just like them. She claims that Drew doesn't want to be like the mean daddy who won't give his daughter ice cream. A jogger runs past, and Tommy says that if he put on the jogger's shoes, he would want to run all over the place. Chucky sees an elderly woman feeding the pigeons and comments that if he put on her shoes, he would want all his friends to be birds. Angelica glows that she will play on the best part of the park, a hill she calls Big Kid Mountain, as only 3-year-olds that end up can play there. Timmy Michaels and Kim and a few others are running, skipping, and rolling on the hill. Tommy wants to play there too, but Chucky does not, as Angelica said they were too little. Tommy points out that she is an unreliable source of information, as she had told them they would float to the moon unless they put sand in their pockets, which is not true. Chucky takes the sand out of his pockets and follows Tommy. Although Tommy is eager to play on the Big Kid Mountain, Chucky is still scared. He'd rather make mud houses instead and put off climbing the mountain until the next day, or never. Angelica says that if Chucky were braver, Tommy would have a funner time. And Chucky apologizes to Tommy for being too scared of the mountain. But Tommy tells him it's okay and there will be the bestest mud houses ever. Chucky starts to get grass for the mud houses, but a duo of older, intimidating seeming boys who both look around 3, ask what he's doing. Chucky explains that he is gathering grass to build mud houses, but the older kid and his friend claim that they own the grass, so Chucky has to leave. Chucky nervously apologizes to Mr. Big Kid and Sir, as he calls them. He puts the grass back and backs away. Tommy asks if something's wrong, and Chucky replies no, he was just walking away, as the grass belonged to the other 2 children. Tommy claims the grass belongs to everybody, and Chucky says, sort of, but it belongs more to them than to you and me. Tommy is now very frustrated with Chucky's timidness and tells him he can't be scared all the time. Stu then puts the kids into their pushchairs for a nap. Angelica takes off her shoes and heads over to the sandbox. Chucky apologizes to Tommy for being so scared and says maybe he will feel less afraid upon waking up from his nap. Chucky falls asleep while Tommy ponders Angelica's shoes and wonders what she said about shoes, and he also falls asleep. Tommy is awoken from his nap by Stu, who takes him out of his chair, and Tommy declares to Chucky that they will climb Big Kid Mountain. Chucky still doesn't want to, but Tommy thinks Chucky will be brave if he wears Angelica's shoes to be like her. He put the shoes on Chucky, who claims she will get extremely mad at them, but Tommy says that being like Angelica will make Chucky not scared of her. Once the shoes are on, Tommy asks Chucky if he feels mean, but Chucky says he does not. Tommy thinks the laces need to be tied, and Chucky angrily asks who will tie them, as babies cannot tie shoes. Tommy thinks that this burst of anger from Chucky is Angelica-like. He asks Chucky if he wants to play on Big Kid Mountain, and Chucky says he does. They climb up the hill, and when Tommy praises Chucky for climbing the hill, Chucky grumpily asks what the big deal is about that, since anyone could climb the mountain, other than little scaredy babies. Angelica climbs the hill while holding Chucky's shoes. She's in a bad mood and wants her shoes back. Angry, Chucky bullies Angelica, claiming the shoes as his own. Angelica chases Chucky but steps on a thistle. Wanting to protect her feet, she puts Chucky's shoes on and suddenly becomes a lot friendlier to Tommy, also much more nervous. She then invites Tommy to play peekaboo. This makes him ask Angelica if she is feeling funny. Angelica replies no, but thanks him for asking. Tommy wants to get her shoes back from Chucky, but Angelica tells him to wait, says that she doesn't want to be left alone. They both go to find Chucky. Chucky, meanwhile, threatens to the sandbox kids that a sandworm may eat them if they play there. Frightened, the kids run away, and Chucky gloats that the sandbox is all his now. Tommy says that what his friend did was mean, but Chucky wants him to go away. Tommy says they should never have had Chucky put on Angelica's shoes. He wants the shoes back and for Chucky to put his own shoes back on. Chucky refuses. Angelica exhibits fear about the sandworms. Chucky has made himself king of Big Kid Mountain and demands cookies in exchange for letting anyone else play on the mountain. Tommy is playing in the mud and invites Chucky in, knowing that you can take off your shoes in the mud. He tries to egg Chucky on, saying that some people are too scared to play in the mud. Chucky starts to take Angelica's shoes off, but the 2 boys from before showing up, causing Angelica to freak out. Tommy knows he's starting to miss the old Angelica. The kids want Chucky to get off the grass. However, he throws mud on them, making them cry and run away. Chucky realizes what Tommy was trying to do and refuses to take the shoes off. He starts chasing Tommy as Angelica cowers nearby, but as he runs, he falls over and the shoes are knocked off. However, Chucky doesn't change back to normal but gets even angrier. As he runs away, Tommy regrets wanting Chucky to change just before he trips on a rock and falls face first in the mud. Suddenly, Tommy wakes up from his nap. Everything that happened since he fell asleep was just a dream. He wants to be sure Chucky, who is still sleeping, is really still his old self and shakes his friend to wake him up. Chucky wakes up and grumpily tells Tommy to stop shaking him. This makes Tommy afraid that Chucky really has changed to be like Angelica. But Chucky, who has calmed down, apologizes for his outburst, saying he is cranky whenever he wakes up from his nap. Tommy's relieved that Chucky really is his old self and proceeds to tell him about his dream. Tommy then tells Chucky he likes him just the way he is and never wants him to change. Angelica shouts at the 2 for stepping on Cynthia's Malibu beach house. Tommy's overjoyed to see Angelica is back from being mean and gives her a huge hug, one of which she struggles to escape from.